And start.
Greetings. I am Brother Sylvester Muhammad, and this is my wife.
Sister Sandra Muhammad.
And we are amongst the many students in the classroom of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his representation of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Today, we'll be continuing our discussion on the timeline of the original man, dealing with the true history of Jesus. Jesus is key, because there's a past, present, and a future Jesus. And if we are to get through to the other side, we're going to have to deal with how that pattern is formed so that we can have a guide to get there. Now, timeline. 7 to 8 trillion years ago, God created himself from the dark womb of space. And he created his second self, the woman. His second self, the woman. That's key, very key. Because all the prophets of God are disguised as women. The Quran saying from those two, not these two, but from those two, God's and his second self, the woman that he made as a reflection of himself to bring him consultation, consolement, and being able to reproduce himself through. That's the value of the woman. She is God's second self. She's not the woman of man. She is the woman of God. And we as men got to understand that if we want to get close to God. In fact, last week, the whole Sunday meeting was dedicated to the new woman. And that new woman is coming through God, and that's an MGTGCC. Now, the next thing he created after darkness and creating second self was the sun. Then the stars. Then the moon 66 trillion years ago. All right? 50,000 years ago. Shabazz. Okay? The tribe of Shabazz went down into the jungles. We don't have to go there no more, but we will. 35,000 years ago, Buddhism. 16,000 years ago, the Native American. 6,000 years ago, the Caucasian or the white man was made from the original man, or the brown germ. The brown germ of the original man. 4,000 years ago, Moses. And now we're on the 2,000 year timeline of Jesus of 2,000 years ago. Mindful, there's a prophetic Jesus, then there's a historical Jesus. My wife is going to show you this picture that deals with the Bible. 75% prophetic, 25% recorded history. Okay? Now, she's going to read from the 2,000 year timeline of Jesus.
Okay, it says 2,000 years ago, Esau, Jesus, was born. Jesus did not teach Christianity. He taught freedom, justice, and equality. He and his mother Mary were a sign of one to come at the end of Satan's rule.
At the end of Satan's rule.
Christianity was organized 300 years after Esau or Jesus' death.
All right. Now we're going to go to Our Savior Has Arrived.
Okay.
You can put that over there, baby, please.
Thank you.
Our Savior Has Arrived. And that's going to be page 62 of Our Savior Has Arrived. And my wife will be continuing the reading from last week.
Right.
Like I said, it's a key story.
Mm-hmm. All right, continuing from where I left off last week. This is chapter 30, and the title is, "And we made the son of Mary and his mother a sign, and we gave them refuge on a lofty ground." So I'll be reading from page 162.
Now, excuse me. Now, again, we dealt with the 4 Jesuses that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talked about. The first 2 was Jesus of 2,000 years ago, and then the coming of Allah in the person of Master Father Muhammad and discovering the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, whom he impregnated. And Elijah Muhammad, the last 2 is Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. Okay? Read on, baby. Read on.
Impregnated with the word.
Impregnated with the word. See, that's why you need a woman. If you ain't got none, you better get one, brother. Cause she keeps you balanced. Cause I mean, my cup runneth over. I be getting ahead of myself sometimes. But thank you, baby.
Praise be to the Lord. Yeah, but you supposed to
I'm gonna deal with it.
okay, 90 year. Okay.
Huh?
Or that 90-year period from last week. You said 90, but you meant 92. You got overexcited.
Okay,
Yeah,
92.
the 90 years.
The 90 years. It's not. We've been in the Nation of Islam has been here for 92 years. Or is it 93?
It was 2020 when the minister did the criteria.
The criteria.
It's 2020.
That's 90.
Two now.
Okay, she got it right.
92. Yeah. Okay.
Help me.
Right. Okay, page 162. It reads, and this is from last week. I'm reading just a little bit back so I can catch you up. Okay, the prophet says that the slave, being deceived, worshiped the mark of the slave master, his religion and name. There are many of our people today who hope to be dignified and respected by worshiping the cross and by going to the slave master's name, or by going in the slave master's name. This worship, called Christianity, and the names of the white slave master dooms black Americans to an eternal death in the fire of hell.
Yes.
This fire of hell will be kindled from the atmosphere and sun over America. This is the only part of the earth of which is prophesied that God would turn into a lake of fire.
A lake of fire.
Not the whole earth. The reason it is called a lake is because a lake is confined to a certain area. A lake is inland surrounded by land.
A lake is inland surrounded by land. That lake is America. If she do not choose to surrender to the God of our ancestors, okay? Now, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the fall of America, you can get that and learn more about this lake of fire, but I just wanted to add that to it, okay? In the fall of America.
Okay, it reads, the fleeing of Mary with her son to Egypt and Joseph aiding her to make haste to Egypt, Bible Matthew 2:13, is a beautiful sign of the so-called American Negro fleeing out of America to the open arms of the Muslim world. The King Herod desired most of all to kill Jesus in his infancy.
Go on.
Bible Revelation 12:4 tells us that the dragon stood before the woman. The woman here represents the messenger of God.
Yes, yes.
The child represents the followers of the messenger.
Okay, the woman here represents the messenger of God.
That's right.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And the child represents the followers
That's right.
of that messenger.
That's
Okay,
right.
likewise it was with Moses. Okay, they were looking for the child to devour that child at birth. Okay, looking for Moses. They were feeding the children during that time to alligators, to wild beasts, trying to get to the one that they know was prophesied to come. And the prophet is woman. We're going to get into that. Come on, baby.
That's right. It says in the Bible, Revelation 14:1, we find the Lamb, messenger of Allah God, standing on the Mount Zion, which is foreign shore.
Yes.
With him was 144,000, which were his followers who had escaped from the anger of the beast.
Yes.
The average so-called Negro preacher has always believed this was referring to Jesus, the son of Mary. But this is due to the lack of knowledge of the Bible story of Jesus. Jesus, as I have said and written, was only a prophet. He is not what the average so-called Negro is made to believe from the surface teachings of the Bible.
I mean, this is like the messenger said. It's because of your lack of understanding. I love the Baptist preachers, but I mean, the messenger say they was his worst enemy. But he also said one day they'll be his greatest friend.
That's right.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, every chance he get, he is taught in churches. And he's taught them more about Jesus than they can ever get, even though they still doubt the fact of the Jesus that they are teaching them of. It's because of the shekels. See, the white man knows as long as you're in his name, as long as you believe that name is officially yours, then you will never be able to get away from him, because you would think he's going to give you your freedom, your justice, and your equality. No, that's the last shekels of slavery. Your name, the last name.
Yep, and never leave.
Sorry to say, but it's truth.
That's right. They have been taught that Jesus is some kind of mysterious being and not a natural man.
Not a natural man.
And that he is God, and that he could be killed, put into a grave back there 2,000 years ago, and ascend up unto space to await the end of the world.
Oh.
They have been taught to believe that he will return and usher in the judgment of this world. All of this is wrong, as he states.
All of this is wrong.
The fleeing out of Jerusalem under the cover of darkness is backed up by prophecy made in the Bible, Ezekiel 34:12, and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day.
Yes, the book of Ezekiel.
This is referring to the last days, that Allah God would gather us in under a cover of a cloudy and dark day.
We're in that dispensation of time right now while we're speaking.
That's right.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught for 40 years. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan taught for 40 more years. Now here we are at 42 years, the Nation of Islam, the voice of God coming from Allah in the person of Master Father Muhammad has delivered this truth to you through those two men and those of us who are striving to be with them, and you still refuse to accept it. The dark day is here.
That's right.
It's not coming.
Yeah,
Please.
92 years.
92 years.
That's right. We go further back to prophecy. Bible Exodus 12:31-42 says that Israel was brought out of Egypt under cover of darkness. The Bible Revelation 8:12 refers to a time of darkness in which the third part of the sun, moon, and stars was smitten, and it was dark part of the day and night. Since the world that Allah God will be destroying is a world of spiritual darkness.
A world of spiritual darkness.
It is natural then that his judgment should correspond with the spiritual darkness of the evil world that he is removing.
Yes, ma'am.
It also states in the Bible, Revelation 16:3, the angel dropped a vial into the sea, and the sea was turned to blood. The angel who had the power to do this work said that this was good, as they love the drawing of blood.
Said that this is good because they love the drawing of blood. And right now, while we're sitting here, war is brewing around the world because they love the drawing of blood. Their armies are gathering for the doom. And while the armies are gathering, I mean, you look at what Negroes are doing. I hate to say it. I mean, instead of making movies, BET, I mean, just clown shows where everybody wants to be a show. You can't turn on your radio today without hearing people giggling and gossiping and clowning and carrying on. Here's a time when God has come to retrieve us and bring us to himself. So it's obvious that we're going to get this well-earned butt whooping.
That's right.
Because he come to save us. And he's not going to let us continue to go with the white man.
And that's why Satan is holding on so tight. That's why they're giving them talk shows. They're giving them the opportunity to be in movies at an alarming rate. They have never done that before. You should ask yourself the question, why are they doing so much for us now in regards to ignorance?
In regards to ignorance.
That's sport and play.
Sport and play.
But nothing serious.
Good point, baby. Good point.
They were given blood to drink. This refers to their evil murdering of people, especially the black man. No one fits this description better than America. She thought there was no help for us.
Uh-oh.
But help has come to us as the Bible, Isaiah 62:4 prophesies, thou shalt no more be termed forsaken.
Come on. Thou shalt no more
That's
be
right.
termed forsaken. God is come.
That's right. Retaliation is certain today for Allah. God has chosen us to be his people. Our enemy is angry against God coming to our aid and his raising of us into a true knowledge of self, our God, and his true religion.
Is angry for his coming to us. And
Yes,
and
to
what?
aid us.
And to aid us in what?
And his rising,
And his rising.
his raising of us into a true knowledge of self.
And raising of us into a true knowledge of self. I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you an example of that. How angry he is. Now, in 1995, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called. He called, and the words went out. And before he realized what he had done, he wanted to reach and grab him back, but he realized that he didn't call.
That's right.
God used him as the vehicle, that trumpet, to call.
That's right.
A million black men to Washington, D.C., and 2.3 million showed up. But to this very day, you won't find that in the history books. You won't hear them talking about that in the public school system. They'll talk about everything on television, on all these black programs, but these Negroes, because the white man hates the rise of the Nation of Islam under the teachings of the most honored Elijah Muhammad through Minister Farrakhan, then they tend to shy away
That's right.
or hate it themselves. But it's coming for you.
That's right.
And we're going to get you whether you're willing to go or not.
That's
because
right.
your children are the key to our future. Preachers, you have been our worst enemy, but thanks to Minister Farrakhan, now you are our greatest friends. Let's work together. Thank you.
That's right. We must work together.
We must work
to
together
save our people.
to save our people.
It says, and his true religion, the same as Herod and the beast of Revelation Bible was against Jesus and the woman who was giving birth to her child.
Yes.
The white man hates to see anything of good come to the American so-called Negro,
Right.
whom he has made blind, deaf, and dumb to the knowledge of self
To the knowledge of self.
and others. He
And
is
others.
working feverishly to bring to a naught the progress of the salvation that Allah God, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever,
Yes.
has brought to us, the black man of America. As Joseph was at his wits' end trying to find a place for Jesus and his mother, Mary, at the time of his birth, Bible Luke 2:7, so are we.
So are we.
Everywhere that we go trying to find an end to give birth to this baby, so-called American Negro, we are hindered, not by the common people, but by the chief rulers of this land.
I mean, look at what's happened to all black organizations. They have been destroyed by our enemy, or they have been noodled.
Neutered.
How you
Yes.
put it?
Neutered.
Neutered. They don't have no juice. But there's only one that's standing, and they refuse for you to even look our way. We can't bring to birth the God consciousness of the aboriginal man, the original man, the Asiatic black man. We can't bring that consciousness to you because he's constantly dumbing you down with filth and indecency.
That's right. And they're constantly, trying to keep us just away from you. They keep the teachings away from you. Every time the minister do something else, or the believers, we do something to try to pull our people, they come right behind us,
Yes.
spewing lies and venom, and also doing more things to convince you that their world is going to be here forever.
I mean, here's war brewing right on the scene, and we still think, oh, it's going back to normal.
That's right.
It's going back to normal. I'm sorry. What was is over. You won't see that no more.
That's right.
Now we're going to go into this book, The True History of Jesus, according to the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the last messenger of God. Okay? And we're going to deal with that true history, okay, of 2,000 years ago.
Right.
Because that's the story you have known. There are parallels between our story and his story, but to understand it, you have to be taught it by somebody that knows it.
That's right. Okay, and that's after the coming of Master Fard
And that's
Muhammad.
after the coming of Allah in the person of Master
Fard
Fard Muhammad.
Okay, so I'll be reading the acknowledgement. It says, we, the Coalition for the Remembrance of Elijah, would first of all like to give thanks to Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the one God, Allah, who searched the earth for us, the last sheep. It's the lost sheep, who founded us, raised one from among us, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and impregnated him with a word, a message, a word with power to raise a dead people to a perpendicular and stand them on a square of truth.
Yes. That one he raised, that one that bore witness to who he was, Allah, in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad acknowledged him in September 22nd, 1931, and as the minister said, a journey began. Had him for 3½ years, teaching him, impregnating him with the knowledge of God, self, and others. Okay? Then left him. And to prove that Elijah Muhammad is his man, Elijah Muhammad said, that man made me all up into himself. Now, Master Fard Muhammad was arrested in Detroit. But once he was arrested, he called for Elijah to let Elijah know what he was going to have to go through in order to give freedom to the black man and woman of America. And so in 1931, after establishing Muhammad's universities of Islam, then they came and charged the most honorable Elijah Muhammad with contribution to the delinquency of a minor. Okay? They threatened him with time, up to 40 years, but that didn't scare him. The sisters that day, back to the woman again. The sisters that day took charge, and they continued to teach in Muhammad's University of Islam. In fact, they locked the sisters up first. Then Elijah Muhammad came and told them, no, you let them go. I established this. And they locked him up and let them go. They continued to hold it down, but eventually they had to let Elijah go. He really didn't do any real time. On the appeal, he was released, did probation, but he didn't stop teaching what Master Fard Muhammad taught him.
That's right.
And then in 1942, charged him with draft dodging. This is that picture. I mean, ooh.
Look at that face.
I have to fight the tears back, you know, because I just get overwhelmed looking at this picture. And if you see here, there are handcuffs on the arm of Elijah Muhammad. And Elijah Muhammad, it's like he automatically, when the camera hit, he did what was that? A right flank straight over to this, I almost said cracker, but straight over to this Caucasian to let him know you can't stop this.
That's right.
And I must admit that when this happened in 1942, Elijah Muhammad was ready to give up on you and me. He was ready to just throw in the towel dealing with the so-called American Negroes. He had walked past this particular officer in the train station. They were looking for him, but they did not see him when he walked past them. He got on the train. I forgot where he was headed. I have to ask why he is that for next week. He got on the train and he heard the words of the Holy Quran in his head coming from the wheels of the train saying, do man think that they will be left alone on sin? They believe and not be tried when others have been tried before them. He got off the train, went across, got back on again and went to confront this Caucasian and let him know you're looking for me. He allowed them to lock him up. And after that, he did from 1942 to 1946, he did 4 years in the federal penitentiary. Okay? So I'm saying sacrifices have been made for us to have such a great leader and teacher in the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and now Minister Farrakhan.
That's right.
But I just wanted to share that because this picture, I'm going to blow it up. I don't know about you, but I'm going to make it 30 by 40 and put it up on my wall because I want to be reminded of what it cost to bring freedom to a so-called American Negro.
That's right.
He re-accepted the challenge and went back to serve that time.
Yeah, and they said he was draft dodging when he.
They accused him of being a draft dodger when he was a year, almost 2 years past that age. But they did not want him teaching Islam while they were planning to drop not one bomb, but 2 bombs. One on Hiroshima and the other on Nagasaki. Called it a war against Japan. That wasn't no war, that was a wipeout. It was a war. Why didn't you attack the military? Why did you kill innocent men and women? Oh,
Children, that's right.
innocent men, women, and children. But I'm telling you, you get out, black folks, because the fight is coming either spiritually and if necessary, physically. Okay? More on that if we go on through the timeline of the original man. Thank you.
That's right. Okay, so now I'm going to be reading from the book.
Our YouTube is going to be shutting down in a few minutes, so please go to YouTube and like, subscribe, and share. Okay, Sylvester Muhammad YouTube channel. Now we're going to read on with the lie.
And the liar.
The lie and the liar.
This is the early years dealing with Mary and Joseph.
Okay, the
Mary
true
was offended.
history of Jesus. Okay? Now this when we say the